Hello Reds and welcome to Top of the Cop. So Liverpool have just lost their 6th home defeat on the bounce at home to relegation struggle in Fulham. And I think that's the end of Liverpool's chance of finishing in the top 4 if I'm being honest. So there's just a few things that obviously not getting Champions League football is going to affect. And I wanted to talk through them today. So we're going to talk Mane, we're going to talk Salah, Van Dijk, Klopp and transfers. Maybe it is a bit too soon after the defeat to obviously make this video, but I am a little bit concerned on Liverpool's progression going into next season. Now, although this is going to be like a highly critical video, if you do enjoy obviously this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more Liverpool content. And with that being said, let's get into it. So yeah, as I said, Liverpool have now lost 6 home games on the bounce with that loss to Fulham, and I think it's fair to say not all is well at Liverpool. There's a lot of things to be worried about, there's a lot of things that need to change, and I don't think I can address them all in one video, but we're just going to talk on a few points. And firstly, we're going to just talk about top 4 football and what that affects going forward. So straight away, you're not in the highest club competition in the world, the European Cup. Our infatuation with that trophy is there for all to see. We've won it 6 times, as everybody knows. So to not be in it is going to be detrimental to obviously this team, the squad, and obviously our progression going forward. Now, transfers, I think it's fair to say that obviously we've got a good team, regardless of what the results have been showing lately. Overall, we've got one of the best teams in the league, if not Europe, and if everybody's fit, we can compete with anyone, and nobody wants to play us. But the problem is, without Champions League football, we're not going to be able to entice the best players in the world. To improve on an already world-class team without Champions League football, we're not going to be able to get any players that are going to kind of break into the starting 11 unless Klopp finds some gem that we obviously kind of have overlooked. But with Champions League football, there was talks of Haaland, Kylian Mbappe and players of that calibre. And I'll be honest, I've never said this publicly, but I always felt that we were in with a chance to get Kylian Mbappe, regardless if he's the most sought after player in the world. He's definitely got some type of admiration for Liverpool. He's talked quite openly that he plays as Liverpool in FIFA. The Nike sponsorship, obviously there was talk about Nike helping out within the transfer fees and things, and obviously from a commercial point of view. So I always felt if we got in the top 4, won the league again type of thing, went far in the European Cup, that we'd be in with a shout. More than Haaland, even though Haaland wouldn't cost as much, I always felt Haaland had his eyes set on maybe one of the Manchester clubs or something like that. But anyway, regardless, without Champions League football, I don't think we're going to get either of them. So what's next best? Who's going to compete with the top 3 or even top 4 now with Jota? I don't think we're going to be able to get any better, maybe a few squad players. So the transfer policy without Champions League football is going to be a tough ask. And the squad 100% needs freshening up. Klopp, when he was at Dortmund, played heavy metal football for 3 years, took the Bundesliga by storm, got to Champions League finals, but then they burnt out and Klopp left. And a similar pattern's happening now. We've played amazing football for 3 years. We haven't really refreshed the team, bringing in like say a superstar every season. We've kind of just stuck with our main 11 and it's done as well, but people are on to how we play football now. And again, I think there's a lot of players in the team that are burnt out. Mane's one of them, which we're going to talk about in a little while. He hasn't stopped playing football for 3 years for club and country. So where we go on a transfer point of view, only time will tell. And if any of you are listening that can obviously think of some suggestions, leave them down below. I may make a video on transfers going forward. Secondly, we might as well talk about Mane. Now, I'm quite concerned with Mane because he's had a really bad season. I love him, he's a great player, but he's had an awful season. And my only concern is it a blip or is it a start of a decline? Now, I know he's not old, but he's definitely lost a yard of pace, or if it's not a yard of pace, I can only put it down to fatigue, maybe even hunger, whilst obviously we're not playing well. Is he down in tools a little tiny bit? Is it affecting him more mentally than we know? And you could say that for a lot of players, but obviously I'm using Mane as an example because he was probably our star player for the last 3 or 4 years alongside Salah. It was either Salah or Mane who everybody loved on the attacking side of things, and obviously we haven't got that from Mane this year. Salah's got goals, although he hasn't been great, he's still scoring goals. So my only problem with Mane is I am worried if it's a blip, and obviously if next season, if everybody's fit and he's had a good rest, he'll be good again, or if it is an actual start of a decline. Again, has he lost the interest, or is it just a case of that he hasn't stopped for 3 years and he needs a rest and everything's taken its toll on him? We burnt Michael Owen out years ago, playing him too much too soon, and he always said that he was burnt out in his mid-20s. I'm not saying Mane's in the same boat, but you do ask them questions if the constant minutes he's been playing for numerous years is having an effect, or he just needs a good rest. So only time will tell. Obviously, I don't think Mane, 1, would want to leave next season without Champions League football, or 2, if he'd even be allowed to under the current climate. People won't be able to afford him. But anyway, fingers crossed he can find some form again back end of this season and going into next. Now, next I want to talk about Virgil van Dijk. Now, as we all know, he's been out for the majority of the season after that injury against Everton, and a lot of people, I noticed on Twitter especially, were saying, will Van Dijk stay if we don't get Champions League football? I 100% think that he'll stay, and the reasons being is, again, same with Mane, nobody's going to be able to afford him in this current climate. Liverpool Football Club have looked after him tremendously well. We've seen on Twitter, we've seen all the videos. His recovery hasn't been rushed because obviously we don't want no relapse. It's a major injury. Danny Ings fell to it twice, so I think out of obviously the fact that he loves Liverpool, the fact the club have looked after him, I think he'll stay regardless of Champions League football. But what I will say is if he comes back and has a great season and we fail to get Champions League football the year after, I do think he'd be off. But obviously with a full strength team, Liverpool will finish inside the top 2, never mind the top 4. So I'm not too worried about that. 100% he'll stay for next season, but we just need to get back on track and obviously not fall any further down the league standings and improve next season. Now, next I want to talk about Mohamed Salah. I am concerned that there may be links with him moving in the summer because, unlike Van Dijk, he's been fit, he's still been scoring goals, and I think the questions will get asked about Salah, his age, and not playing Champions League football. I've got a feeling that something's going to be brought up in the news, whether it's true or not, stating that Salah wants a change, maybe La Liga. At his age, he needs to play Champions League football. He's done all he can at Liverpool, etc, etc. It wouldn't surprise me if those rumours started pretty soon. And people will say he hasn't underperformed because he's still the top goal scorer, but he has to a certain extent because at a detriment to the whole squad. There's times when Salah's not looked great on the ball, but he still pops up with a goal, so you can't knock him. But obviously, at the same breath, he's still in the same boat as everybody else. If there was one player that I was worried about leaving this summer, it would be Salah. So it'll be interesting to keep an eye on how things go on there. Obviously, we want him to stay, but out of everybody else in the squad, he's my only concern about wanting to leave Liverpool Football Club this summer. And it'll be interesting to know what you think. If you think Salah will stay or go, or any other players in fact, let me know in the comments down below what you're thinking. And lastly, I want to talk about Jurgen Klopp himself. I'm recording this after the Fulham defeat. There's people out there in social media criticising his team selections recently, and obviously talking about, his time's up at Liverpool. He may even walk, similar to the way he done at Dortmund. Now, do I want him to go? Absolutely not. The man has done wonders for Liverpool Football Club. In my entire life of supporting Liverpool, I have not seen us play at the standards we have been playing. It was always United, then Chelsea, then City. They're always the top dogs in the team. I've never seen Liverpool be the team that everyone feared until Jurgen Klopp joined the Reds. So, do I think we should give him another year? Of course. If he wants to step down, that's a completely different subject. But do I want him to go? Absolutely not. Could he leave? Yes, I do think he could leave. Again, whether it's off his own back or, Liverpool come to him and say, what's your plans? Let's talk. And, we come to an agreement to terminate his contract. And, the media are going to be all over this. Jurgen Klopp's failing, quote unquote, at Liverpool. Steven Gerrard just won the Scottish Premier League with Rangers. There is bound to be talk of Klopp leaving and Gerrard coming in, and it is going to be all paper talk. And if it happens, yeah, okay, it wouldn't be a big surprise, but do I think it'll happen? Like, would Klopp get sacked? No. If Klopp walked, then maybe Gerrard would be in for the job, but I suppose it's down to Klopp himself, because I don't think Liverpool in the hierarchy are obviously going to sack him. But anyway, that's my feeling, obviously, on not finishing in the top 4. And you know, there's a lot of other things that we could go on and talk about in this video, but it's gone on long enough. And obviously I want to focus on a few areas that I've covered in this video. So if anybody wants to discuss what we've talked about today, let me know in the comments down below. Send us a tweet at TOTKHQ and let us know your concerns and worries with our Champions League football next season. Anyway, Reds, if you did enjoy today's video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more Liverpool content. And until next time, take care.